Welcome to the Gordox Pub. I said it now.
Let's see how long it takes the music to kick on for us. I bet you it's already on for them.
Oh,
So I think maybe
another fascinating swim meet.
And by fascinating, you mean
Oh, it is. They are normally pretty boring.
yeah, right.
I mean, a lot of times it just says. I mean, if it's a close race, it's interesting to watch. But most of them, you know who's going to win before they ever reach the outside of the pool. Like before they do their first turn, it's like, oh, that one's gonna be that one, and you know, you just it's not. And of course, you know, watching my own kid swim, and it's like when he's in the pool, we're like, you know, watching his times, and you know, doesn't really matter who wins the race. We're just really looking at his time. But it's still one of those things. It's just that's like the only time usually that you're interested in it.
When it's your kid?
Yeah. Or like when it's one of my students that, you know, I would normally root for. Like there's this one girl. Well, actually, there are a couple girls that I have in class that normally I root for, or that I've had in class, but it's still not as interesting. Because for them, I don't really care about their times. Well, there's one I care about her times. But for most of them, it's just like, are you going to win or not? You know, what place you're going to be in. It's like everything else. It's just not that exciting. I mean, if you think of like race car driving, or, you know, like NASCAR or something, where for the most part it's just a big loop and you just watch it, and at least it's kind of fast and there could be a wreck.
It's a bunch of left-hand turns. Like it's a constant left-hand turn.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But they're going fast enough and they sell alcohol.
Oh, well, the sell alcohol part, I guess that's different.
Makes it, you know, that can make it more interesting, I guess. I don't know. I've never really, like, you know, I've lived in Indiana most of my life and never really wanted to go see the Indy 500. It's just like, all right, a whole bunch of people screaming and, you know, it's just basically whiplash.
That's basically whiplash.
Yeah. Just dumb. So. Oh. Oh, golly.
Mixing up the breeze, mixing up the breeze. And with having just done some watercolor, I'm trying to be careful not to reactivate it. Which, you know, it's acrylic, so it's not going to reactivate.
I'm hoping we have a 2-hour delay tomorrow. Because, like,
Well, you got my vote.
it is amazingly foggy right now. And I don't think it's supposed to let up. But our school is kind of miserly when it comes to 2-hour delays for fog. Because despite the fact that a bunch of our kids live outside of the town, and it really doesn't take long to get, you know, out in the country, they wish they, I don't know, I guess respect some of those country students, the more rural students, you know, might need a little more time to get there. But whatever. Did you see the latest brouhaha around Worldcon?
No.
Like, Neil Gaiman had something up for a prize, and they decided to kick him off the ticket. They said it wasn't
he's a white
eligible.
guy?
Huh?
What? Because he's a white guy?
And then, what's even funnier is there was some Asian chick that got kicked off for a white guy. And, you know, that's pissing people off. But
What?
yeah,
Oh. Of course it will.
yeah. And why people are being kicked off.
Got nothing to do with skill anymore.
Well, some of them, yeah. It's like, man, I just want my writing to stand on my writing, you know. Just, did you like the story? Did it entertain you? Did it, you know, maybe get you to think about something? That's all I care about.
Right.
I shouldn't have to worry about, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff I just want. Of course, I also think that every time I see, you know, this is for women writers only. You see it all the time.
Right. Well,
Or-
see, that's the thing that really sucks about that. And I think the same thing when I see it with tattooing. Is that when it's only a female tattoo artist can compete, it delegitimizes their victory. Because it says that they can only get a victory when it's only female tattoo artists that are competing. Which, what really sucks about that is that there's some great female tattoo artists. But
Who can compete with anyone, right?
yeah, I didn't say amongst the female tattoo artists. I just said great female tattoo artists.
Ugh.
So, hey Joe. Wheeler nearly raided us. He had someone pick, of course.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I don't know what that means.
Nikki Haley conceded.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Who's Wheeler?
Anthony Wheeler.
Oh, okay.
He's a children's books illustrator, but he really helps a lot of artists get started. He does a lot of what I wanted to do with this channel. And rating means he dumps a whole bunch of people into the channel.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. I didn't expect him to.
Oh, that's cool.
Joe is the other one who's the other artist that was working on the idea that I was talking about.
Did you get what I was saying last night about, like, before
Yeah,
you?
it didn't matter. Last night wasn't a good night for me, so. No, I mean, it really wasn't. It's like.
Oh, I could kind of tell. I was like, okay.
So.
Like, I wasn't upset or anything. I
No,
was just like,
watching that program just pissed me off because there's no originality there anymore. And I think it's really hard to write that type of fiction because of that. You're not going to get any more originality. You can't hope for any more originality there. But they're not embracing it. They're not saying, okay, so pretty much all of the power ideas have been worn out. So now we're going to focus on the different ways people act with those powers. Yeah, I'm not going to drag it all up again. Nobody really wants me to. I don't want me to.
Okay.
I was having pretty much a hard night. I've been having a lot of hard nights lately.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to channel it into something else and come away with something not as negative. And it seems like no matter which route I go, I'm not getting what I'm trying to get out of it. And when you're having a hard time with it anyway, every way you can think of, nothing is really good, right? I was watching one of the comic date programs, and somebody said something about, oh, you should be able to write a comic book in a day. And I'm like, yeah, not a good one. Like, yeah, you can write a piece of dog shit in a day. But if you want to write anything I think that's the problem that's going on with most of the stuff that I read. And I'm 100% want to support these guys and what they're doing, but you gotta give me something to work with.
Oh, Lord. I hate when I remember that I have work I still have to do.
That sounds like an exit.
Yeah. Joe said, did you see that Iceland rewrite? It was basic, but far better than Iceland.
I saw the rewrite. I saw Ethan bragging about it. Some of it was really good because it put action up front. And it gave motivation to the character and a storyline that you could follow without the mystery. Like, that's one of the problems that Eric July has with that comic book, is that he's trying to keep too much of it a mystery. Like, as a writer, I understand you don't want to give everything away at once, but also you can't have the reader go through 1/3 of the book and not know what's going on at all. You have to have a direction. You have to have an idea of where you're going from the beginning. Otherwise, the reader ain't going to want to read it. That's an old rule in books. That's nothing new. I think if they really think that a writer can just write a story in an afternoon, that's the reason that they've got problems with their stories.
Yeah. That's called being a hack.
Well, so there's a difference. The difference in writing for comic books and writing for like prose fiction becomes evident with that, because in prose fiction you want to polish it. You want to go over it and over it and over it until it's really as smooth as it can be, and until it really until it's really clearly what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Comic books can be cheesy. And I'm not saying like comic books can be cheesy. I'm saying it's okay for comic books to write cheesy dialogue and for them to write. Yeah, I mean, they don't have to worry about it being believable dialogue.
Although, doesn't hurt if it is.
Well, no, and this is what I'm saying. Like, it's the difference between getting something written in an afternoon and getting something good written.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, trying to think of a way to say it the way I wanted to. But
I can make a story in an afternoon. It doesn't mean it's going to be a good story.
Well, so comic books are generally not written in an afternoon. That's bullshit. What's written in an afternoon is the plot.
Yeah, I can believe that.
So a bunch of people get together and decide what the story is going to be, and then they just hand it off to a writer to write. Some of them, obviously, some of them just write whatever. I was reading John Byrne's X-Men. I think it was last night. They were talking about it on the John Malin show. That John Byrne, when he got fired from X-Men, was fired in the middle of his story arc. And the writing credits that he had been writing were given to Chris Claremont, even though it was him writing it. So when he got fired from X-Men, he finished the story arc, but he wrote 32 issues. Wrote and penciled 32 issues.
Huh.
And when Marvel just kind of, was like, whatever, he released them on his site in the now I'm at a loss for words. The section where you post stuff. It's like you could go to like Reddit or whatever, and it's like that.
Okay.
I'll think of the word later and sound less stupid, but I can't think of it right now. It's not a blog, it's a message board, that's what it is.
Okay.
So on the message board on his website, he's got all 32 issues, links to all 32 issues, where he posted them one page after another in a post, so you can scroll down and read the comic books.
Wow.
And like he definitely was ripped off, and reading through them had a great nostalgic feeling, but it also reminded me that I was 12 or 13 years old the last time I thought that was good writing. Well, you know, it's hard to revisit that stuff because when you love it as a kid, right?
Right.
It's hard not to love it as an adult because you loved it as a kid. And then you look at it and you go, not really. Because the time has changed, the way that you write has changed, the expectations of the reader has changed.
See, that's like, I have this idea for a series of stories, and to some extent,
That reminds me, I want to use one of your creations in my story.
But
my current comic-ish story, comic book story.
I was working on this short story, and what it is, I came up with is kind of a template, and it's kind of a template the way if you watch any kind of episodic TV that deals with like detectives or murders or something like that. I had kind of...
So that would be a mystery?
Yeah. I had kind of thought up how this would work. And so I wrote this out, and I thought of it in 4 parts. Yeah? And there's the first part, which is kind of the setup. But something has to happen in that setup every single time. And
yeah, you were talking about this, the Law and Order.
Yeah. And then the end of it, something has to happen every time. And the ending's fine, but when I wrote it, I was like, man, I don't know if the intro actually has to be like, I'm not sure this is like, I don't know. I guess I'm undermining my own confidence, but I'm just like, if the introduction has very little to do with the actual story, then I'm not sure I need the introduction, right? But at the same time, I'm like, but no, like, I want it to be, like, I guess it's my ego getting in the way, maybe, you know, it's one of my darlings, but I want that setup. I want it that way because I think it's a fun thing to play with. Although maybe it'd get boring after a while. Kind of like, you know, they used to kill Kenny in every episode of South Park. But then one day it didn't happen and they're like, wait, what? Something's off. Because they got tired of killing Kenny in every episode. So, I don't know. It's one of those things where you start looking at, is episodic TV really what good writing is about? But then, at the same time, was I really trying to write art, or was I really trying to write something that I would find entertaining? So,
define art.
When I finished the story, if you and Jake are like, yeah, you could cut the first, 3 pages off, no problem, then, maybe I will. But I thought it was kind of weird that I don't know. Kind of threw a wrench in my plans.
Well, so I think there's a qualifier that needs to be put in there.
Okay.
And that qualifier is that unless you tell us, and this is universal, like unless you tell us what your plans are, like what you're intending to do with the piece, you can't really accurately tell you if you're headed in the right direction. You know what I mean? I can't say just because I don't like something doesn't mean that it's not good. It just means that it's not good to me. But like, if I knew where you're headed and I had a clue where you're headed, then maybe I could give you a helpful suggestion instead of just going like I don't like it, or
I get
cut
it.
this or whatever. Because there's a lot of things that we can cut, but sometimes that cut will destroy the flavor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't, unless we know what you're, and I'm speaking for Jake here, and I probably shouldn't, but unless we know what your intent is, we're guessing. We're just guessing from what we read.
But that's what an editor does.
You may not have achieved what your intent was, but we might be able to, and we have done this in the past, and I say we, meaning you, me, and Jake have done this for each other.
Yeah.
When we know what the intent is, we were able to give a suggestion or modification or something that puts a switch that makes it work in your head and go, okay, this is what I mean. This is really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I hate to be a part of something that says this story can't work, or this is wrong, or whatever. I can like it or not like it. I'm not gonna suddenly like something that I don't like, but I'm definitely not gonna want to put it in such a way that makes you think that it's not gonna work because I don't like it.
Oh, I don't ever worry about that. I mean,
the last thing I want to do is to dishearten somebody.
Well, there have been stories that I've really liked that I wrote that you weren't a fan of, and
this is coming back to that same one, isn't it?
Yeah. Joe said, I love to keep guessing, Rich, the dark side of me.
What?
The 6B pencil Joe said, I love to keep you guessing, Rich, the dark side of me.
Yeah, I heard what you read. I just trying to figure out what exactly it meant.
All right. Well, I'm just trying.
We've been having some communication issues because he injects a lot of humor into his comments, and I'm trying to get a solid basis to work on and solid understanding of how much information I need to give him for him to get on the same picture that I have.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like that's pretty hard sometimes, and I think we're working through a little bit of that. Like, I think he should know I wouldn't ask him to do art on any project that I'm gonna do if I didn't feel he was good. You know what I mean? Because if that was the case, I wouldn't just humor somebody. I'd just do it myself.
That's kind of what I thought. So, you constantly asking me questions, and I'm keeping you guessing.
Yeah. I guess it's not really the keeping me guessing. It's like you could call it keeping me guessing. I'm trying to look for information that I can move forward with. That's kind of like what we were talking about with ISOM, somewhere near Indiana.
Why don't they just say Warsaw or something?
Yeah, that's near Indiana.
Well, that's in Indiana.
No, I'm being facetious because ISOM like somewhere near Florida.
Well, there was a thing.
There's a big area of Florida. Like, do you mean Georgia? Do you mean Louisiana?
I think it was
the
middle, or the middle, or something. It was some TV show set in Indiana, and they had like Warsaw so far away from where Warsaw is. I'm just like, in this day and age, you couldn't,
Alright.
you
You
know,
don't think
pick a
anyone can
town.
use maps?
Yeah, like, you're gonna pick a town that's in Indiana. All right, cool. But
A real
then
one.
you move where it is. Like there weren't towns in Indiana where you wanted them to be. I don't know. That was worse than watching. You've ever seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind? That is not Muncie, Indiana. It's just not. But,
No,
okay.
Devil's Tower is nowhere near Muncie, Indiana.
Yeah. It's one of those things like, why are you choosing a real town and then it's nothing like that town? I just don't get it.
See, that's the benefit to what I'm writing right now, is that it's set in the future, so it may or may not be the same places as what it was before a major, apocalypse happened. So I can have fun with that. There's no restrictions on that. But like when I'm writing about a place that's a real place, I try very hard to get it right.
Right. Joe said my thing, and it's no insult. I want you to write. Then I take what you write, can interrupt it onto a page.
Interpret it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, interpret it onto a
I think
page.
he means interpret.
Yeah. Well, I'm just reading what he wrote.
I'm just interpreting him.
Yeah. I want to embrace your writing into the story, but at times I feel I need to change a little here and there. Like opening page, just show the levels and get that across that the top levels are wealthy and slums are street level. Then page 2, how the woman and son moving quickly.
Yeah, well, that's what I asked you. That's literally what I asked. Is did you intend it on moving it to the second page? Because if you do, I just think that there needs to be more than 2 panels for the second page. The real reason that I'm asking is because the next page is a splash page. And I was saying, yeah, like if that's if that's what he's trying to do, if that's what he's moving it over to, expand on that I can understand that. I just need to be able to adjust my page count, because if I'm writing a double page spread, it has to be starting on an even page and ending on an uneven page, because the even pages are on the right.
Joe, don't feel bad if you type too fast. Rich and I have both gotten used to critiquing people on shared documents where we can watch the critique as we type it. And oh my gosh, like there are 3 grown adult men doing this, and it's always like type, backspace. Type, backspace. Because, yeah, we all do it.
Especially with me. My fingers get ahead of my brain gets ahead of my fingers.
That's why we started doing it on a separate page, so we could, when it was done, copy and paste everything over. Otherwise, we were all embarrassed by our typing skills. But he says,
he's a touch typer.
Splash pages are my problem. If I see you have a splash page planned and I did something to derail that splash page, I will adjust it. And yeah, I feel bad when I completely insert the wrong word. Trust us, we've done it. We've done it a lot.
No, yeah, I'm just like, I'm trying to make the opening a bang. You know what I mean?
Oh God, that was the story I'm working on, which should be short, and I think it will be. But then last night I was like, that intro I could probably shrink down because you start, you think you have it all planned out. You got an outline, you know where you're going, and then all of a sudden you realize, now wait, I can combine this, get more bang for the buck out of each word, and so then your outline goes up and kind of goes up. Well, it doesn't. Just your outline changes. You know what I mean? And then you have to fix everything. I was up half the night thinking about an introduction to a story that I was already basically happy with. Joe said,
"Me too."
Just right. You are talented. Let me make images from your words. It will work. Yeah, I started watching clips of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, and some from just Mad Max, because I was looking for a character and some inspiration, I guess, and I thought in Thunderdome, the announcer guy, I think it's like Mr. Death Dealer or something. I forget what his real name, or what his character's name is. But I thought he had more of a feathered, cape on, but they're judges' robes. But I started watching just these clips and just, I've always liked those movies.
Didn't he end the scene though?
Huh?
Didn't he end the scene though?
What?
There's more than one scene with him.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe, I think it's Death Dealer. But I don't think it's not the right kind of, it just wasn't. But it's still kind of the right shape. It's just not the exact right material, that's all. It's not a big problem. Not like I'm just writing. But
I think I misunderstood what you said. I thought you were saying that you thought he had a feather cape on.
Yeah, I thought he did.
I thought he did too, and I'm saying, are you sure that's not in a different scene?
Well, maybe it is, but
because there's more. That's why I said there's more than one scene with him, because.
But I think it's just judge's robes.
Or you know what? I bet you're conflating him with the dude with the goggles in the second movie. The dude with the goggles and the raccoon hat. The weirdo.
I don't know. Maybe I'll look. But anyway, you've been talking about superhero stuff, and that got me thinking about superhero stuff again, which is kind of why I'm writing.
I'm sorry.
This. No, that's all right. And then, you start talking about this post-apocalyptic stuff, and so then that's making me want to watch more of the Mad Max stuff. And just some of it I just seriously question. We were talking a bit about it at lunch because I'm like, why do these? Some of the S&M gear, it's just like, why? And a friend of mine's like, well,
I just watched No Escape today while I was working out. You remember that movie? Did you see that movie with Ray Liotta? Ray Liotta, Lance Henriksen, the dude that played the cop in The Crow, Ernie Hudson. It's about a prison island, like a futuristic prison island that they've got these cannibals that live on the outside in this little village in the middle.
Okay, so you're talking, I'm going to guess, the 94 version?
Film? It's in the 90s, yeah.
Well, there's also one there's a No Escape from 2015.
Yeah, it's not that one.
Okay.
Well, no, because No Escape,
let me see.
The movie No Escape that I'm talking about.
Yeah, I see it.
Started as a book called The Penal Colony.
I don't think I've ever seen that film. I think
So
Yeah,
it's
I'm
it
positive
is
I am.
kind of it is kind of Mad Max meets Lord of the Flies. Except for it's not school
Yeah.
kids, it's people that were in prison. The book is quite a bit different, but so when you were saying that, it just made me think of it because that's supposed to be set in the future, and basically this island is a penal colony, but it's set up like Mad Max, and there's a bunch of people on it that they are using like ruins and they get all their stuff from broken down stuff that was left on the island
Yeah.
before it became what it is and overgrown and all that. And you were saying that the S&M choices of the uniforms, but like the bad guy's got a pauldron made out of hinges. Like, where do you get all these shiny new hinges?
Yeah.
On an island that's overgrown.
Joe said, funny story, there's a local flea market and a guy who sells used tools, etc. He has chicken wire in a dome shape over his booth and tools hanging from the chicken wire. I commented to him that this looks like Mad Max Thunderdome, and he didn't find it funny. Well, probably because 2 of you went in and 2 of you went out. It's just you broke the rules. All right? One of you was supposed to stay behind. Oh.
Maybe he didn't get it because Blaster wasn't attached. The Master wasn't attached.
Joe asks, is that the movie Escape? I was going to watch that the other night. I don't...
Not Escape, it's No Escape.
Yeah. Yeah, that's from 1994.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. Actually, it holds up. Except for probably the dates. I don't know for sure what the dates are, but I knew that
So
it's probably already past the near future that they're talking about in that movie.
yeah, because I think it says 2022. But so the weather here has like, it got really cold, then it warmed up, then it started to rain, then it got real cold, and now it's warming up again. And that kind of weather just messes with my gout. An old man, I get gout. Okay. So yesterday I stayed home because I could barely walk. And
Gout is a conjunction of get the fuck out.
no. So I was talking. I was at lunch today, and they're like, "Where were you yesterday?" And I told them, my gout flared up, and they're like, "You've got 2 boys, make them carry you." I'm like, "Yeah, I could be Master, my son could be Blaster. I'll just ride him around all day." So,
They didn't get it.
oh, they got it. That's how we started talking about Mad Max, but my children wouldn't necessarily get it. Joe said, I will look up No Escape. I think Escape has that one actor in it. You know that guy? No, with the face? Yeah, he's awesome. One of my students did that to me today. They're like, can we work on that one thing with the concept? I was like, I would love to if I had a clue what you were talking about.
I don't have a concept.
Oh, okay. Well, first off, Joe, there is a No Escape from 2015, but there's another one from 1994. Escape that has Hugh McGregor in it. That's the one with. Isn't that the one where like they're clones? And,
Oh, that's The Island.
Oh, that's The Island.
That was a Michael Bay movie. I actually like that movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed that movie. I gotta say, I thought it was. Yeah, yes, I think so. They are on an island. Yeah, I think that's the one. But I've always seen those things online about watch parties and watch this with your friend. So your long distance watch parties. Always thought that sounded like a dumb idea until you and I were watching Rebel Moon at the same time and making fun of it.
I don't know how that party would work on Facebook, though. I mean,
I don't know.
is it just like Facebook and you're talking on Messenger, or is it just you guys all watching the same program through Facebook?
I don't know. I'm an old man. I don't
know either. I'm an older man.
That's true. It's like the old leading the older. No, it's the older leading the old. Joe said that he watched Napoleon the other night. I heard that wasn't that good.
I've heard all kinds of atrocities about that movie.
You say skipped Rebel Moon. I had such high hopes. Hey, if you've never seen a sci-fi film or a fantasy film, Rebel Moon is fine. But if you've seen science fiction or fantasy movies, you're gonna watch Rebel Moon and go, "Oh yeah, it's that. Oh,
to be fair, we watched it and laughed our asses off.
Yeah.
But also, to be fair, it wasn't. I don't think it was supposed to be a comedy.
Joe said his concern about creating something with you is no one will appreciate it these days. And I would argue, if you look at something like Reacher, the TV show on Prime has done very, very well. People are like, yeah, the big action star, the traditional.
I guess he thinks I'm saying. He's saying I'm sorry. He's probably saying that's up.
Nah, I don't think so. I think he's talking about, like the stuff that we grew up with, which kind of became, it was played out. They'd done it in the 80s and the 90s, and then.
Well, I'm not writing what I was reading in the 80s and 90s.
I know, but still, some of those
I'm just
things.
saying. That's not what I'm doing. I do like post-apocalyptic stuff.
Joe said, Napoleon is a part of history I've never been much into that time in history. The beginning hour is solid, but then it turns into a soft porno rest of the movie and derails horribly. Or does it?
So, if you haven't seen them, there is a series of movies. They're English TV shows, but they're a little over an hour, which is basically a movie, right? Short movie.
Okay.
That are based on Bernard Cornwell Sharp's books, which are about the Napoleonic Wars. And like it's where Sean Bean started. It's like his first.
I think I've seen those.
Role. And it's like the only one that he doesn't die in, right? Well, I guess he doesn't die in National Treasure either, right? He just goes to prison. That's a good one, and Count of Monte Cristo is written in that time period too. There's an extra version with Jim Caviezel and Guy. Why can't I ever remember his last name?
Joe said he likes BC time periods, etc. Pre-1000s.
Yeah, well, I'm just telling you stuff that you could watch that'd be decent to give you an idea of the period and all. The hell is his name? Guy.
Are you talking about the director or the?
No, Guy Pearce.
Ah, yes, I think I've seen that.
Yeah, Jim Caviezel and Guy Pearce, and believe it or not, Henry Cavill's in there. He's Count Mondego's son.
Huh.
So he's like a teenager. I love the fact I didn't even know Henry Cavill was in Stardust until after the fact. And going back through it and watching, and I was like, wow, I didn't know Henry Cavill was in this movie.
Gotta start somewhere.
You know where he was?
Nope.
He was the blonde dude that was picking on the main character. That was going out with the girl that he wanted to go out with.
Okay, now that's weird. Joe said that he has a weird hand disease. They call it trucker's disease now, but I found out it's from my Viking lineage, a rowing disease. Forget what it's called. All sorts of jokes to say, but I don't know you well enough, Joe, so I'm just gonna bite my tongue on this one for a while.
Well, the irony is that the Viking wasn't a people. I get annoyed with this a lot because Vikings weren't a people, they were a profession. That's like saying, my pirate ancestors. Well, pirates come from all over the place.
Yeah.
So do Vikings. Vikings could have came from anywhere between northern Russia near the water, Greece, England, France, Germany. There's records of Greeks. I want to say Romans, but not Romans.
Well, Joe said, why I share got me interested
Really?
in how Vikings went to England and Ireland and settled. I love jokes, but wrong hand. I use the other. I know that.
Well, what do you mean wrong hand? What
I don't
side
know what
of the
you're
boat
talking
you rowing
about.
on? What side of the boat you rowing on? Because if you're rowing on the starboard, you're using, well, both hands. And if you're rowing, you're using both hands.
It's like, oh my God, this morning in one of my
So
classes,
he might
they
be
were
saying
talking.
he's not ambidextrous.
Yeah, Joe, I've done that before. But there were somebody was talking. One of my students was talking about how another one had been watching porn or something, and I said something about, why do you keep playing that drum beat? Which I guess is, I mean, I had seen videos where like it'd be like a band concert for a middle school, and they play, and it was, I guess it's the music or the drum beat for Pornhub or something. And so then my students were like, how do you know what that is? And I'm like, literally, because I've watched YouTube videos where I didn't know what the heck was going on or why people were getting, why they thought it was funny, and I had to look it up. I'm old. Sorry.
It sounds like an adult spy thriller.
An adult what?
Spy thriller?
Oh.
Like the porn identity?
Yeah, the one time you slip up and say something.
Whip.
there was once, I forget the name of the book, because I only taught it for like 1 year, and I only taught it because it was part of the curriculum and I had to. But they were talking about like some Jewish characters, and they were they had made some joke about how you can tell the difference between Jewish men and Christian men. And trying to delicately explain that, because someone asked about it, and then I was like, I don't think they caught on to what I said exactly, but I remember as it left my mouth thinking, I've just told these students whether or not I'm circumcised. And I just was like, oh God. And thankfully, I don't think anyone caught.
That's a difference, really. I mean, it's an offering. I've never heard of either one, like a Christian being uncircumcised. And I know Jewish tradition that they're circumcised.
Anyway. One of those
Usually
things
the quote-unquote heathens that aren't circumcised, from what I've heard and been led to understand. And I don't care if anybody knows that I'm circumcised. I'm not ashamed of it.
Well, I'm not ashamed about anything, really, but
it's
just one of those things where I necessarily need to talk about that in front of
in front of your class, probably not the place to bring that subject up.
Yeah, trust me, it's one of those things where you say it before you realize what you said, and then you're just like, oh God. Dupuytren contractures, the hand disease. I have no idea if I pronounced that right, but oh well. They say Vikings seldom suffered from it because they didn't last long enough to develop it severely. Alright.
You say Vikings suffered from it because they're too stupid to realize Viking isn't a race. Because really, rowers suffered from it. And I bet you can find that in Greek triremes, and biremes, and there were plenty of them that rowed a boat and rowed it hard.
My dog was staring at me again. Now she's doing it again. Alright, that's better. Now she's looking at my door. I hate when she stares at me.
You hate when she stares at you?
Yes, because she always looks so sad. Like, just makes me feel guilty.
Like she wants her attention?
Because she's trying to either, beg food or get attention. Other cultures around the world didn't row like the Vikings did.
I'm sure so. You can ask a few slaves about fucking triremes that.
What are we going to do with the Viking row today? Olaf, you're doing it like a Greek. Do it like a Viking.
Wait a minute, did you just say Olaf was doing it like a Greek?
Yeah.
He wasn't rowing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm probably going to get a strike for that shit, but it was fucking funny.
Exactly. Feminine Greek. That's what Joe wrote.
What?
Joe said exactly. Feminine Greek. I'm not even going to inquire.
I'm not even sure where we're at in the conversation, so...
I don't know. What the Romans called them, not me.
So
Don't
this
hate
is
me.
a good excuse to escape. This is as good excuse as any to walk away.
Oh,
I'm sorry you have a degenerative rower's disease. We'll leave it at that. I got problems too after tattooing for 30 years, hunched over like you're fucking football. Looking close at skin that's bouncing, at needles that are bouncing, not the same speed. We all got problems. Except Brett. That doesn't happen for us.
that's right. I am the epitome of health and yeah, all that.
Paragon. You're a paragon, weren't you? Like in Lord of the Rings.
Let's see. What I find funny is that I spend every night doing at least a little bit of work for my class. I have more homework for my class for me than my students ever do. If they did as much as I did, they'd be great.
Right? Why would they want to do that?
Hey man, if they, get you interested in something, it gets you interested in something. No, not be ashamed of.
What?
Ugh.
I think I missed something.
Well, he brought up that stuff about the rowing disease.
Well,
Because of that, because someone called it a Viking thing, I believe, he was more interested in that time period, and because he had a connection, therefore he just
Oh yeah.
kind of sparked an interest. That's all. Makes perfect sense.
Funny, I've got connections to a lot of stuff that way. If I wanted to think about it. I have that's one of the reasons I have an interest in Arminius.
I gotta let my dog
And I
out.
got the only book of fiction I saw on Arminius, and it's politically correct. And I'm like, son of a bitch. There's no way that Arminius was fucking politically correct.
Rich, I'll be back in a second. I gotta let my dog out.
That's fair. Oh, I'm not really telling you not to bring anything up. I just wanted to get off of the weird aspect of the joking around. I can definitely appreciate you being interested in history because you found heritage. Want to make that clear. You can talk about whatever you want, really. But I got to be honest. At first, I wasn't really sure if you were joking or not. Excuse me. What do you get?
Joe just found No Escape with Ray Liotta, and it's set in the year 2022. Yeah.
Well, told you it was set in a year that's not. Yeah. In a year that's already gone by, but
yeah. So my son, he cooked himself dinner, which is cool. Whatever. He didn't want what we were having, so he cooked it up. I don't care. I go downstairs, put the dog out, grab a pop, and I was like, wait, what's that heat? I look over, the stove is still on. He's been upstairs for at least 10 or 20 minutes. Just had a burner on, just, running. I'll pretend like he was tired from swimming.
I guess that's a lot better than pretending he's stupid. Right?
Yep. To be fair, part of the problem is executive function disorder.
What's that?
He has executive function disorder. Like, he was tested a while back, and they were explaining the tests to me, or at least some of them. And, like, one of the tests was, like, they show you a picture of a house, and they say, draw the house. And any normal person's going to look at this house and go, all right, it's a square, and on top of the square is a triangle for the roof, and a rectangle there for the door, and it's all made out of basic shapes. It's not that hard. But my son, no. He does not see the triangle and the square and all that stuff. He starts in one corner and just starts trying to draw it all. And just, he doesn't process the information the same. I mean, it's not terrible. And he's a smart kid, but sometimes just some basic procedural things just don't gel for him.
putting my foot in my mouth the whole time. This is why I don't joke.
Well, trust me, there are plenty of times I'm like, kid, you gotta think about this. You're not this dumb. But I always think, you're not this
Well,
dumb.
I said it's better than pretending he's stupid, like, because I wasn't saying he was stupid, but then you go and say, you know, he's got issues.
No, he doesn't. Don't worry about it.
I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
There have been plenty of times where he'll be like, oh my god, I'm stupid. And I'll just be like, hey, I wasn't going to say anything. Because, you know, I'm nice like that. Well, hi, Biscuits. I see someone let you back in. I see that you have discovered I have a Rice Krispie treat. Oh, I see how it is. You want a snack on it. I see. This dog is the most spoiled dog. I swear. That place is beautiful. Here you go. I freaked out one of my classes today because I was talking. For some reason, my younger son stayed home because he came home yesterday and it was like out for the entire night. Slept and slept and slept and slept. And I mean, he's been miserable. So he stayed home today. And I mean, last night when we came home and my wife tried to talk to my son, he did not want, like, we had to physically shake him awake. He was exhausted. So he stayed home today, and everyone else, you know, like I went to school, and other son went to school, wife went to work. And I was talking, like, I don't know, I mean, I suppose he could be dead. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, what? He's the spare. It's part of the plan. It's all good. Still got an air. And they were just freaking out, like I'd actually be that cavalier with my son's life. But it's just kind of funny to watch the freshmen freak out sometimes. Or, you know, when I have students that say, you can't say that. Yeah, I can. I just did. Remember how last time it didn't show up on Twitch?
Uh-oh.
No. I mean, Joe's from Twitch. I mean, I can see it. And you've got the check marks on both YouTube and Twitch. But last time, all the comments were coming from YouTube, obviously.
Oh yeah, because people were actually watching, right?
Yeah, well, that's kind of nice. But then also, tonight then, all the comments are coming from Twitch. And it's just kind of funny.
They're all coming from Joe. Nobody else is watching.
We got 2 viewers. At the same time, even. No, but for a minute, I just was like, oh, wait, are we on YouTube? Just one of those things.
Oh, because you didn't see any comments.
Yeah. Well, like E-Frame a lot of times shows up, or,
Yeah.
We have a couple regulars that tend to show up.
The thing does usually show up. But also, I saw him in the David Finch room earlier, too, so if he... it may be we're not seeing him because he's watching David Finch's stream or something like that. I'm not keeping up with David Finch's streams anymore because he went from streaming on Monday nights, which is why I chose Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, to being all over the place. I think the last couple of them been on Tuesday. Huh. Which reminds me, we didn't... I think that's pretty much done.
Okay.
You have to reach this point and you're like, I think the light's better now. We got some warm light. I was feeling that it was too cold all the way across, and because I had that paleness in the skin.
Yeah.
Because I was using a pale Russian as a model. Now I put a little bit of warmth in here on this side, and a little bit of warmth into here. I kind of feel like it's more equal.
Your textures are great.
So I'm either going to leave it here and with the face sticking out a little bit, or going to hit some highlights in the whiter spots back there. What do you think?
Well, like I said, I think your textures are amazing right now. Like, really, I do.
Yeah, I'm not talking about anything to do anything with the textures. I kind of like this, the shell being pushed back a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is pulled forward a little bit and kind of disappears back. So I'm thinking I should hit a little bit of one color on that too, just to match. But other than that, I don't really see anything. Without actually going into the shell. I don't want to go into the shell. I want to color quick. The paint, the tape on the top was giving up the ghost earlier. I had to press it back down. Paint on the top was all like, oh, I'm done.
I said you were done.
You can hold it still by yourself now. Just it with your fingers.
Joe said, I wish I never gave up traditional painting. That lion looks great, Rich.
Yeah, he's been using the lion joke since he first popped in.
I normally go with giraffe or butterfly, but
See, things like that, I'm fine with that kind of shit because anybody that has, the ability to see, which is most people that are going to be watching the stream, can see for themselves if I did a better job than he's claiming.
a beautiful butterfly.
And if they can't, they probably shouldn't be listening to a thing.
I mean,
I don't think that's too great.
I keep looking at that horn, the horn. And then all the, I mean, wow. That really does look good.
Finally, something that might have a print. And probably didn't push it back as far as I wanted, right? Take it back now. Yeah, I think that's better. Now I gotta let it dry to darken out. But I think I can safely say, I think I can safely say it's done. I think, because now I am pickled. I'm really interested in seeing how this hot press looks when the tape comes off.
Yeah.
Coming up off the bottom here too. can't see it. I'm pointing it out and it's not on screen. Oh, that could be why.
Heck up.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a difference. Yeah, this is popping up. Some tape I've used really literally either pulls the surface apart or the watered down thin paint will seep right under it no matter how tight a seal you make.
Joe said, I think Rich should put most of his focus into painting. Improved a lot since you started streaming. But I know what it's like to have multiple interests and directions you want to go. Well, it probably helps that you're setting aside a lot of times, like what, 12 hours a week? Like 3 streams, roughly 3 to 4 hours each normally.
Yeah, right.
Tonight's going to be a bit shorter, but still. That kind of constant practice is definitely good for you.
Well, you know, it's not the first time that I've heard people think I should be focusing on doing the artwork, but that's because the stream's about the artwork, you know.
Yeah, I've read his
I've got other people that there's 1 or 2 people out there that actually appreciate my other talent.
He says he's seen a speed increase in your paintings.
Just as liars. What's that?
He said he has even seen a speed increase in your paintings.
Well, last week it was because it was like this big.
It does change things.
I'm also using, it depends on what you're talking about, because the big fantasy paintings, first of all, they're way bigger. They are 2 foot by 2.5 foot. And I'm using a very already thin, slow drying paint when I'm doing those. And this is actually a result of switching to the regular golden fluid instead of golden open. The only thing I've used from golden open lately is white, because I don't have any of the golden fluid white, and it stays pretty well for long. When it's mixed with the other ones, it dries faster. You got one to pull up? Actually, I'm surprised at how clean this edge is. The only edges I'm really noticing is where the paint overlaps, or the tape overlaps each other. Like up here in the corner and over here in the corner a little bit. This I actually had to push down. Ooh, maybe I should turn this right now. Now, Wayne has talked about actually commissioning me.
Yeah.
But I don't think he knows what the hell he's talking about. He's probably not watching. He's probably not watching this, so I'm feel free to say that, because he's a very big fan of the artwork he's seen in Nuremberg.
Yeah.
And he's calling it Aryan artwork. And when I looked up Aryan artwork, hoping that I wasn't going to find, swastikas and all that crap.
Right.
what I found is that there's a German artist name variant.
Oh,
So I don't think he's talking about that because he was talking about like Teutonic Knights or something. And you know, I'm good with painting Teutonic Knights. That's one of the subjects I really like. Oh yeah, that is pretty clean head. Now I gotta move this water because I would be damned if I knock that water right over my painting. Just at the point of getting complete.
Joe said he's not talking about canvas size. Brush movements, faster, more fluid brush strokes.
Yeah, the paint has something to do with that. I've been painting for a long, long time.
I have not been painting for a long, long time.
But you painted a long, long time ago.
That's true.
As far as like what I'm using now, like I used to use Liquitex, and it's got a different feel. The consistency of Liquitex, even Liquitex soft, which is what I was using near the time when I stopped using acrylics for a while and started using oils for a while. It has a different consistency than these, and it dries a little bit slower than these, but a little bit faster than the opens. And yeah, I guess you could say I'm getting back in practice, so I'm more comfortable with some of the movements. But I've got a whole bunch of different brushes, and I'm trying to feel them out for the different effects that I want to get out of them. Sometimes I can get them, sometimes I just have to go over it and over it and over it. And I don't mind painting by layers. So I guess that puts me a little bit different than some people who think, you know, that it has to be all in one or whatever. This is definitely not alla prima. What am I going to start? Maybe. You can use the multi liner. Try it in the margin. Well, kind of turn it. Oh, maybe not. Maybe this multi liner is not going to work.
Yeah, okay.
And that would put me back with a paintbrush. So, look, there's a liner. A little bit wet. Eli's finding something very funny.
That's cool.
Yeah, considering he's got his earphones on or whatever it is he's listening to. Probably never happened, didn't you?
Something like that.
Where's your kid, the one that suggested this?
He's the one who's sick.
Oh. Well, you should have told me. I might have waited to do to finish this off until he wasn't sick.
He's fine.
What's that?
He'll be fine. He does not have the attention span to last for 90 minutes. So, yeah. Joe said you can open an online store, Etsy, and sell that.
What?
Joe said you could open an online store, Etsy, and sell that. Not sure how much, but charge what you feel it's worth.
Well, I always do. You'd probably be surprised what I normally get for commission. I say probably, but you might not. So I take it Eli's tired and doesn't want to be tired. He yawned and he goes, stop yawning, Eli. Stop it. Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Oh, you said yawning, and now I have to yawn. Thank you. I'm apparently very suggestible.
Yeah, well, so you're talking about selling the original, I'm sure, and I was thinking making prints would be maybe better thing to do and save the original for a while. I'm sure it's never going to go into a museum or anything, but
Never know.
somebody might think that it's worth something someday, so instead of trying to sell it quick, and of course, you know, if the right price was offered, I'd sell it anyway. It's not like it's, I don't believe that art something that you're gonna not sell or whatever. It is made to be appreciated, you know, whether it's by a private owner or multiple people.
Joe said prints can get you into legal trouble in online stores. Why selling originals is way to go.
Nope. Prints won't get me in trouble if I'm selling a print of my work and not, you know, not selling the rhino. Nothing says the rhino on it. And
no, it's obviously
there's a whole bunch of people that are selling prints of Marvel type stuff online. And I've kind of been concerned about that for them too, especially when they're selling like Star Wars stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's just as easy. If somebody wanted to buy the original, they make me an offer that's worth it. I'm mailing it off pretty much the next day. Well, not quite the next day. Right, Brett? I still have yours. I haven't mailed it yet.
I'm fine.
Well, but you know, I've got two to mail to you, and the one that you paid for. So. I don't know. There's a lot of, like, Joe Justo and a lot of other guys like that were talking about that. They generally, comic companies generally will let you sell something like that. Disney's is different because Disney's always cracked down on it. I said before, like, I remember when I tattooed in Florida, Disney used to sue tattoo shops that did Mickey Mouse tattoos. And they could get away with it because Florida kisses Disney's ass. Well, used to anyway.
Yeah, he used to. I don't know about it
And
anymore.
well, I don't know. There's some back and forth going on about it, but so anyway, the difference is that there have been decisions in court cases now where if you hire me to do Mickey Mouse and I'm not selling you Mickey Mouse, then it's not the same thing. And like, I didn't make this as the Rhino to sell the Rhino and whatever, but yeah, I guess kind of technically Marvel is Disney, but they still let so many people, too many people, do it to get away with it. It generally works for DC and still does fucking Marvel characters by request and sells them for a hell of a lot more than I sell them for. I'd say sketch of his go $15,000 a sketch, rough sketch. And I'm sorry, he's a badass. Not that bad. I don't think that there's any artisans, and this is including Frank Frazetta, and Frank Frazetta is the shit for me. Everybody knows that he is the number one. Even he, nope, he ain't paying $15,000 for a sketch of his. Of course, now that he's dead, I might. But
Just said I got $500 plus on my sketches.
okay, if you can get it,
That's what I think. Awesome sauce, man.
right? More power to you if you can get it.
I think that's fantastic. Yeah.
Right. I know how much like Joe Justo gets for a painting. I know how much Jen Bavay gets for a painting, and I fall short of both of them. I don't price mine anywhere near that.
What?
Oh, yeah, you know, like you can try it. Like, I don't think like I know Jusco sells prints of his like Marvel cornerbacks, and he's not working for Marvel anymore. He's working for Edgar Rice Burroughs, like the Edgar Rice Burroughs Corporation. He's been doing all the paintings and painting covers for Tarzan and John Carter of Mars. And that's what he wants to be doing, so that's great too, you know. But what I'm getting at is that I know that there's a lot of artists that are doing that, and it's apparently fine for them to do that as long as they're not selling, you know, they're not selling a comic, they're not selling a product, they're not selling a t-shirt. If you get into that shit, maybe. I don't think a print of one painting would be a big deal, or maybe even on their radar, unless somebody reports it on their radar. But this right here, this is fan art. So I think that's all right. That's fine, because you can do any fan art of anything. But I don't know. That's the reason that I was talking about coming up with some drawings and quick paintings to do something to put on the store. This one, I don't know how I get. But you know, hey, also Marvel could pay me for this. I'd sell it to them too. I know what the cover rate is.
Joe said you were making a solid point with that painting not having Rhino or any logos on it. You make it away with prints of it.
Yeah, it should. It should be fine. But if not, yeah, like maybe I'll just put it up for sale. I don't know how that works though, because I'm not going to put it up for auction, because then there's a time limit and whoever bids, and I ain't doing that. It's worth a significant amount because it took me a while to do it, and I've done it on screen, so everybody can see the authenticity. Matter of fact, I gave him a face change on screen. He had a completely different face earlier. So. I think probably the best bet, and this is what I'd refer anyone that asks me to do, is to check with a lawyer and see if I can get away with doing fan fiction and selling prints of it, or fan art and selling prints of it. And I know you can't, like if, so we were talking about John Byrne doing 32 issues of the X-Men, and he was an X-Men artist for years. And he's a very popular X-Men artist. Matter of fact, Dale Keown got started because of John Byrne. So he's claiming his is fan fiction, and he's not selling it. He just put it up for free for people to see.
Oh.
Now, I think that he could sell the pages. You know, he could sell the original pages, but he can't print it as a book. And I know, like, if you write fan fiction, you're, you know, writing about Harry Potter or whatever, you can't sell it. You're probably better off not writing about Harry Potter and putting it out there anyway, but you can, and it should be a winnable court case that you do. But Rowling has actually won court cases suing people who were writing commentary on the character, and that's supposed to be totally legal. So fucked up. This guy that was keeping was keeping an ongoing coalition of data about the world of Harry Potter as it came out, and he was keeping it on a website, and Rowling actually used that website so that she could be consistent in her writing in the later books. And then when he put it out as a book, she sued his ass and won. And it shouldn't be a winnable case because that's fair use. But, you know, when you've got more money than anybody else in the world, or whatever, any other writer in the world, or any other person in England, or whatever the hell it was.
So, Joe said, years ago I did a high detail of Arnold and got some cease and desist letter over posting it for sale. I was in the clear selling it, so they couldn't enforce anything or sue me over it. I learned some about copyright issues.
Okay, so I'm not clear what you mean by Arnold. You mean Arnold Schwarzenegger? You mean Hey Arnold? Which particular Arnold? I'm guessing Arnold Schwarzenegger, but the only reason that you wouldn't be able to use that is if it's an actual copyrighted image. Hey, you're not clear. This could be any kind of Arnold. Tom Arnold?
Benedict? Never knew.
I don't think Benedict Arnold could send him a cease and desist order.
I would hope not. If he does, I would keep that letter.
If he does, it would be really, really concerning since he's been dead for 400 years plus.
I know. That's why I would keep that letter.
There's an interesting thing about Benedict Arnold that most people probably don't even know is that if he had died like 2 years before he died, he would have been a hero. Twice he was shot in action, and he would have been a hero. Yeah, so that's exactly it, because it's not just Arnold, it's Mr. Olympia. And Mr. Olympia, the contest Mr. Olympia, Joe Weider or whatever, they have the right to the images. So yeah, I mean they can't do it if you're doing fan art, but yeah, if you sell it into reproduction, then they have literally it's you'll see when you watch the Mr. Olympia competition and stuff like that, or like when you watch the NFL, it says that you can't use any of those subjects without permission, any picture or any part of that broadcast without permission. So of course plenty of people do draw it, but yeah, it's the reproducing it that they're worried about, because they don't want you to make a profit on something they intend to make a profit on. Now the foolish thing is that if they thought it was good enough for you to sell to get money off for reproduction, why wouldn't they just pay you for, want a percentage of that reproduction? Like, hey, you can do that, we'll license it to you for 20%. 20% of everything you make has to get kicked back here. And then you can write that licensing off. That would be it's like, to me, it's just like the issue of listening to music. Like, if I'm listening to music, I can listen to music wherever I want to, but if I'm on here and you can hear it, they can copyright strike. Unless I have express permission, and then you have to go through channels. Like, you have to get permission from the copyright holder, and if there's 4 people that wrote the song and they all own the copyright, you have to get permission from all 4 of them. And not only do you have to get permission from all 4 of them, you have to get them to write into YouTube or whoever it is that they've given you permission. So you have to get permission 4 times to you, and then them to bother telling somebody that you've got permission 4 times. And it's just jumping through hoops to do it. And that's so stupid, because unless you're trying to sell the music as yours, which an old 60-year-old man doing a guitar cover of Run to the Hills or something like that, it's idiotic for anybody to think that they can confuse that as his. That's an Iron Maiden standard, I'm just saying. It's honestly, there's no way that he could claim it and nobody would show up on his timeline going, hey, that's Iron Maiden, that's not you, bub. It's just not real. But we're not doing that. We're just listening to them in the background. And by listening into the background and putting that information in our information box, then a whole new audience could listen to music that they haven't listened to before. So that band, or those bands, get free advertisement. So it's the same thing to me. Like, if you're drawing a portrait of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it's a really, really good portrait of a Mr. Olympia contest, or pose, or whatever, you would think, they would just monetize it. They would just find a way to monetize it. Say, oh, you can use it, but you have to link it back to the photographer. Give the photographer credit and give the Mr. Olympia, who owns the copyright for, it's just ridiculous that you could get a whole new audience for them if they weren't just so stingy about who is, putting what out. It's a whole different thing if you try to claim it as your own and it's not yours. That's the same thing as if I tried to claim that Jim Lee Prophet that I redrew as mine. It's my version, but it's my version of Jim Lee, so it's always going to have after Jim Lee. But anyone that I didn't write that on, they're not going to think it's mine originally, because Jim Lee's way more famous than me. those few that thought different, they'll learn the truth anyway. Somebody will make a comment. I remember when YouTube wasn't strict on music. I watched videos to find out what. Yeah, like that's. But it should be the same thing with anything. It should be the same thing with art. It should be the same thing with a Disney character or whatever. Just so long as you credit who the artists are. If you credit the performing artist, or if you credit the original painter, or if you credit the owner of the comic book or whatever, if you're giving them credit, like this is a Marvel-owned character, then it shouldn't be considered that you're stealing their stuff as much as putting it out to a whole group of fans. Displaying, you're selling their wares for them, you know. And you're not even asking for any money in the process. But for me, like if I'm listening to Overkill when I'm painting, and someone's like, "Oh, this is a badass album. Who are you listening to?" And I've been asked that question a lot. What music is this? What music is this you're listening to? So, like, and I've actually talked to one of the members of Overkill, and he was all psyched about it. Talked to the guitarist and the writer for a lot of the music for Messiah, and he gave me permission to use it, except for whereas the lyrics and music are copyrighted to be written by him, the recording is copyrighted by whatever the music media company is. And I have not gotten a reply from them. So, but here, this company is losing out on all kinds of sales because if I was playing it and jamming out to it, somebody would be asking me, like they do every week, you know, who's this? Who's that you're listening to? Likewise, if I'm listening to a program or something in the background, what's that you're listening to, right? I can understand a little bit with like audio with audiobooks. But that's even like no one's gonna listen to a whole audiobook during a broadcast anyway, so that should even be a sample and help sell it, you know. Any of those things should help sell the artist that the streamer's listening to. Like, I'm not copying anybody. This is mine. But the character wasn't created by me. The comic is owned by somebody else. The music that I'm listening to is owned by somebody else. We just have the rights to play it because they, like, should be common sense for everyone, in my opinion. Their licensing agreement is that you put it in the link in the description. And I don't think Twitch has a description box like that at all, just little comments on the titles of videos. But because I'm also using YouTube has a description box. So there it is. So Joe, are you still here? And if you are, did you see the final the scale picture? Because although I'm probably going to end the stream very shortly, I can show you very quickly if you want to get a good look at it. Hard to hear over the music. Is the music loud to you, Brett?
No, but
it's actually at a quarter of the level. Maybe I just talk well. But my wife would argue that too. So. Yes. This is what I'm talking about. I can actually also take a picture of it on my phone if you want a picture of it. I said I want to put a light up in here. I don't know if there's no answer or it's just a lag.
He was kind of yellow for that.
Yeah, except for he's not colored like red and blue. The point is that what they have in common is they're supposed to be leather uniforms. And that's more Mad Max in my brain than Judge Dredd. The helmet's a little Judge Dredd, but it's also a little Clone Wars and Boba Fett and all that too. Cobra Commander, the shield face, but there's a communicator on the bottom. Anyway. Alright, well, I'm going to end the broadcast. Thanks for whoever has been viewing, and because I can't see, again, who views, who likes, who follows, who whatever. But thank you for those of you who did. Thanks for hanging out, Joe. Thanks for hanging out, Brett.
Hey, it was always a good time.
Good night. God bless. Much love.
Night.